Hey y'all, welcome back to the podcast. Today we will be talking about something really special. It's a big announcement about our lives being changed, the journey of marriage being shifted to a new phase of life. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram or you're friends with me, family friends with me, you know that we recently announced that we are pregnant. Yeah. So Jared and I are expecting our first child February of next year. I am 4 months pregnant. It's been the greatest journey of my life, other than being married to my husband, who is the best person in this entire world. But it's been quite a journey, and it's been an interesting journey for that matter. So before we jump into all things pregnancy, I just want to thank all of y'all who are listening, who have been on this journey with me, who have been, just dedicated supporters of the podcast, of all the things, who've been there from post blog to all the things and just have been through that transitionary period with me. I truly appreciate it. Just the ongoing support and encouragement from so many of you. And some of y'all stopped me in church. Some of you text me personally and let me know, hey, this episode really resonated with me, or hey, can you talk about this issue? So I really appreciate it. Like, it goes a long way, those words of encouragement. And that is actually my love language. So for those of you who don't know and who have been encouraging me, thank you. It means so, so much. So for this episode, I just wanted to shift things around because we've been talking about a lot of heavy topics: waiting well, dating well, breakups, divorce, and we've gone through this entire season so far heavy. We started it with a bang, and we'll keep the ball going. But I wanted to shift gears a bit, and while I do plan to continue the relationship series, I have some plans to talk about marriage. I have some plans to talk about flirting and what flirting is, and the messy side of flirting, especially in a marriage relationship. I have a series called What Marriage Isn't and What Marriage Is. So I'm curious to see what y'all will think about those specific episodes. So before we get into all of that, I wanted to transition and publicly announce to you who are listening, my podcast listeners, my YouTube listeners, that we're expecting, and it's one of the most beautiful journeys that I've ever been on. So backstory, Jared and I were in Atlanta. We were at a baseball tournament for him. He got invited out to play, and phenomenal weekend. Like, he ended the weekend winning the game. He got the game ball. He played all 9 innings, and I don't remember all the stats, but it's really, really good. It's super impressive. First of all, to play all 9 innings is a big deal. To receive the game ball, basically, they're saying he's the most valuable player of the team. So phenomenal weekend. Before we got to that weekend, though, while driving the 14 or 16 hours that we drove, I remember telling Jared, this weekend is the weekend where God's promises over our life is going to be fulfilled. And little did I know, it was more than just baseball. It was more than just confirmation of what the Lord had already, reminded us of what he was going to do in our life. It was going to be, our lives being completely changed. So, at the end of that weekend, Jared, he's on a high from baseball, and I'm like super proud of him, just in awe of his ability to play and, all that the Lord has brought him through. Because if you know his journey, it's been a rough journey getting to that point. So on our way home, we kind of had an inclination, okay, something's going on. I missed my period, and, I was having all these symptoms as if my period was coming. So we just assumed, I was late, and 1 day late, 2 day late, 3 days late. And at the 3rd day, I was like, okay, something's going on. This has never happened before. I think we just have to take a pregnancy test. So after driving 14 or 16 hours from Atlanta to Dallas, we're on our way home. Jared finished a game. We got in the car, got dinner, and we literally just booked it home. We just were steady all the way home. We got home was like around 2 or 3 in the morning. I got the pregnancy test out. I took the test, And within 30 seconds, the first word you saw on the pregnancy test was pregnant. I've never seen that ever in my life. I ran into my bedroom, or not my bedroom, into our closet, or bedroom closet, and I just cried. There's just so much panic going on inside of you. And, for those of you who have experienced seeing that positive statement on a pregnancy test, it is overwhelming, and it puts life into perspective. And just so many thoughts went through my head. I grieved for so many reasons. But one of the biggest reasons was because being diagnosed with PCOS is polycystic ovaries. And I'll probably do an episode on that, specific on PCOS, healing, eating habits, and my journey through that. But being diagnosed with PCOS many years ago, I think, about 10, if not more years ago, you just hear certain things about what your body can and cannot do. And, I was in shock. We weren't trying. We weren't not trying. We were told it would take years to get pregnant, and, it would take a while. If we got pregnant. But before Jared and I got married, we prayed over specific things over our families. There were certain generational curses that we wanted broken. There were certain health things on his side that we wanted healing and just redemption from. And there were certain sicknesses on my side of the family that we wanted healing and redemption from as well. And one of those was PCOS and starting a family. So we placed that in the Lord's hand early on before we got married. I believe we were dating at the time or engaged. And we just trust the Lord that whenever the timing was right, we would start a family, whether it be through naturally by giving birth to a child or by adoption. Those were the two. There were no other options, but either the Lord was going to heal my womb and we'll have a child, or we'll adopt. Those were our only two options. And we still have adoption on the board. We're praying about it. Whenever the timing is right, God's going to just confirm in both of our hearts that it is the right timing, and, it is the season for that. But that's how we found out we were pregnant. And, I took the day off the next day from work. I was so overwhelmed. I was shocked. I was genuinely shocked. I just thought, this couldn't happen, or that we would have to pray for years for this miracle. But I'll backtrack to last year. There was a Holy Spirit conference that we had at our church. And at, I think, the second or third day that week, the speaker mentioned, if you want healing, he shifted gears, and he said, if you wanted healing in your body for anything specific, it could be a long-term illness, it could be something that you were diagnosed with and you're scared about what your future looks like, I want you to lay your hands on your body and believe in faith that the Lord is going to heal you. And during the Holy Spirit conference, I put my hands on my womb and I prayed again, and I'd never really think about it. There'll be times where I get self-conscious, but I never really think about the possibility of, the hardship of having a child, because we laid it at the Lord's feet before we got married. But that day, in that service, I wept. I wept as if it was the first time I have ever prayed about this. And it felt as if this was the first time I truly surrendered that part of my heart. And I said, you know what, Lord, while we're not trying, I am believing in faith that you will heal me and that you have healed me. And I will no longer hold on to the statement that you can't. In your name, I will. And that night I had a dream, and the Lord confirmed certain things about pregnancy. And a couple nights later, I had another dream, and the Lord confirmed again certain things about pregnancy and starting a family someday. And obviously, that dream, I wrote it down. It was very vivid. It was an emotional dream about the Lord healing my body. Mind you, I thought this was going to be a 5-10 year thing down the road. God was preparing me a year in advance. Your body's whole, your body's healed. Get ready for what's to come. And it's just so powerful. The the way the Lord works. I had my own timeline. Jared had his own timeline. But the Lord knew that we were ready for such a time as this. And, we're thrilled. We're so happy that this is the time that it is. And for those of you who know my husband, if anyone ever mentioned kids, he always says 5 years. And if you pester us more than he wants you to, he'll say 10 years and he'll emphasize it. Like, quit bothering us about having kids because we're just enjoying marriage and we're enjoying our life. But before we found out we were pregnant, he started making subtle things. I'm excited to start a family with you someday. Not now, but whenever the timing is right. Or, I'm excited to be a dad someday. Not now, but whenever the timing is right. So he started making these comments and it became a common language. And like I said, we weren't trying at all. We weren't in the phase of life to say, this is it. We're starting a family now or anything like that. The conversation just came up and it was like, okay, well, this is cool. This is the thought is great to dream about our family, but when the timing's right, it'll happen. So, really cool experience and truly phenomenal. And, one of the greatest things I've learned so far about pregnancy is how you have to have faith in the Lord, because being pregnant is a faith journey. You don't see the child. It's not physically in your hand. Right now, I can't feel the baby because they're still too small. I need to wait until I'm like 20 to 25 weeks or sooner. It can happen sooner. But as of now, I haven't felt the baby. But, waiting between appointments, for the first and second trimester, you wait, I think, around 4 weeks before your next appointment, unless you're high risk. And it's just a faith journey because you can't see the child yet. They're not in your hand. And that's what faith is like. You're believing in the unknown. You're trusting God. You're trusting a known God to an unknown future. And we don't know what the future will look like, but we're trusting a known God that he's going to walk us through this entire pregnancy. And it's truly one of the most beautiful journeys ever. And I never thought I could love my husband more than I loved him before we got pregnant, but I just felt just deeper in love with him because immediately he kicked into dad mode and he's just so excited. Like, I never thought he could be more excited than he was getting married, but now it's like a new excitement, a new journey that we're on. And it's just been so fun telling family and friends and just enjoying this side of adulthood, and it's beautiful. I truly encourage you, if you're able to have children, and even if you're not, whatever path it is that you are on, to consider having children, whether it's adopting or praying and believing for the Lord for your healing, whatever that looks like, and the Lord is going to confirm that. And I think what helped both Jared and I is that we weren't stuck on it has to happen a certain way. We fully submitted our family to the Lord and we said, however it may be, God, let it be done. And I think once you remove how you think life should happen and you submit to the Lord, your plans, your will, and you tell him, hey, you decide what is best for us, I feel like that's the best way in navigating your life and having the Lord take the lead, and he will bless it. And you get so much peace approaching life that way. So let's talk about the first trimester. I will not sugarcoat this by any means. The first trimester was very difficult. It was extremely hard. I think about the 4th week in, because we found out at 2 weeks, around the 4th week in, morning, or I call it all day sickness, kicked in, and it was hard. And just staying true to yourself, staying happy, and not allowing the sickness, the uneasiness, the feeling of nausea, to overwhelm you to the point where you hate being pregnant. And I think there's two sides to this. There are women who, put on a facade that everything's fine and dandy, and there are women who emphasize so much the gruesome side of pregnancy that those who are watching or listening, don't even want to get pregnant. They don't even want to start a family because it's so scary. I will not sugarcoat it. It is hard. It is tough the first trimester. And for some women, it is the entire pregnancy that they go through these symptoms of, nausea, vomiting, your body is changing, your organs are shifting, your hormones all over the place. And, it is difficult, but submitting even that to the Lord. And there were days where it was really challenging. And at night, Jared would lay his hands over the baby and I, and he'd pray for the baby, he'd pray for me, and he'd pray for my symptoms, and just ask the Lord to ease the pain and to walk with me through this and give me joy through the uneasiness. And something one of my friends said, we have some good friends, Colin and Allie, but Allie was telling me, Vashti, whenever you have the symptoms, that is a sign that the baby's growing. That is a sign that the baby is developing. So take the morning sickness, take the all day sickness, the nausea, and the food aversions, and be grateful for it, because that just means your body's doing what it needs to do. Not to say that if you don't have morning sickness, that your body's not doing what it needs to do. But for me, for someone who has walked through PCOS and needs that reminder that, hey, nothing's happened to the baby, I'm taking the morning sickness and these symptoms and I'm holding on to it, and I'm saying, thank you, God, for these symptoms, because I know that the baby is growing. I know that you're doing your work in my womb. So that's the first trimester. Pretty wild, pretty emotional. I cried quite a bit. I grieved quite a bit. And, I'll be honest about the grieving process. And some of you may not want to hear this, and because I will be raw, but I grieved for many reasons, and I felt selfish for grieving this way. But I was very honest with the Lord, and I said, God, I wasn't ready. I truly wasn't ready to be a mom yet. And Jared's excited. He's so ecstatic and happy. And I'm like, how am I not like that? How am I not like him? Where I'm excited and ecstatic to be a parent. Why am I grieving so much? First of all, you're probably grieving, or I was grieving, because my hormones are all over the place. Things are shifting, life's changing. But also the fact that my plan, my timeline didn't work out the way I wanted it to. And I had to resubmit that to Jesus and say, you know what, Lord, my timing wanted things to work out a certain way. Your timing said otherwise, and I am thankful for that. I will be grateful for that, because matter of fact is, I didn't even think that we could get to this point in life. So I need to be grateful. And that's real and that's raw, because I know many people who struggle to have children, who struggle to conceive. And here I was grieving over the fact that I did conceive. That's raw. That's real. And that's harsh, but that's just the nature of it. And that's something that women do not address. That's something that women don't talk about, because, you're told you have to be happy. Obviously, I'm happy. I'm ecstatic about being pregnant, but you're grieving your body changing. You're grieving life changing. You're grieving the fact that, oh, this wasn't a part of my timeline. But you're also joyful because life. You're joyful because miracle. You're joyful because, you get to fulfill your dreams is being fulfilled to become a mom. So if you are or were in a similar boat as I am, just know that you're not alone. You're not crazy. And I had another mom friend, Maggie, who confirmed that with me. And, she let me know, Vashti, you're not alone. This is how I've felt. And because no one else has verbalized this and said this is normal, I thought I was wrong for feeling the way I was feeling. Obviously, I'm ecstatic about being a mom, but also I had to grieve certain parts of my life because there were certain things, they wanted to do before they had kids, and et cetera, et cetera. So if you're in that boat, I just want you to know that you're not alone. You're not crazy. Your hormones are all over the place. And this is a big life change. This is something huge that's happening in your life. And, we shouldn't take it lightly. It is a major deal. It is a major life change. It's beautiful. It's wonderful, but it's also messy, just as every part of life, every phase of transition is. There are the high points to it, and there are the low points to it. But Am I happy? Am I thankful? Absolutely. This is a miracle and a dream come true. And, we're praying through the entire pregnancy, and just praying that the Lord will continue to walk me through it, and that I will, whatever his plans will be yes and amen. It will come to fruition, and we're just grasping onto that, and we're clinging on to hope and assurance that the Lord has both myself and the baby fully secure. So that's a little bit about the emotional roller coaster and, what we went through and, finding out and all that. But something that I also want to touch on is nutrition and craving. So before I got pregnant, or before we found out I was pregnant, Jared and I were very health conscious. We try to eat right. We don't eat out a lot. I cook almost every day, if not every day. I make a meal. And every day we work out. I love running. So, I was training for a half marathon. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. I think the most I'm going to do is probably a 9K or a 10K. I think, yeah, the most I'm going to do is about a 10K. But before we found out we were pregnant, I was squatting 245s. I'm very strong in my legs. I'm weak upper body, my legs, lower body, super strong. Running, training for a half marathon to do with my brothers. Lucky them. They lucked out. They don't have to do a half marathon this year with me. But, whenever we did find out we were pregnant, nothing changed. Other than I couldn't eat. The food aversions were just really strong, unfortunately. So I rejected a lot of food. I lost quite a bit of weight because my body just the nausea was just too strong, and I just didn't desire to eat because nothing smelled good, nothing tasted good. So that was that. However, we did not give into the cravings. And I just truly, I didn't have any crazy cravings, or haven't had crazy cravings so far. If anyone who's craving, it's my husband. He's craving torchies. He's craving pizza. He's craving ice cream. He's craving all the things you can think about. My main thing that I've been craving is just jalapenos and chips, like just raw tortilla chips with fresh jalapenos, and I'll eat into that. Spicy, anything spicy I want. Spicy rice, spicy chips, spicy gumbo, and anything spicy or savory I want. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with my genes. I grew up in a very cultural and flavorful country, so it's nothing new to have a lot of spice in your food, and it's just emphasized a million times more in pregnancy. And old wives' tale says at least a Belizean tale is, do not eat a lot of spicy food because your baby's going to come out hairy. Well, I guess this baby's going to be real hairy because I can't help it. Food just needs to be spicy. But other than that, other than jalapenos, habanero peppers or serrano peppers, anything that's spicy. Other than that, we've kept our nutrition pretty clean. And we've kept up with, working out. I still run every other day. So I do 3 5Ks a week now. I used to do longer runs, don't anymore. The max I do is about 3.1 miles. But I am training to do that 10K with my brothers, and my goal is to get that done before the 6-month mark, or around the 6-month mark, before we transition into the 3rd trimester. But, I've kept that up, and not to knock on anyone who doesn't work out. That's fine. Every woman's body is different. Your body is capable of doing what it is capable of doing. And something that I had to learn was to not compare my body and my pregnancy with someone else's body and their pregnancy, because I started showing later, or I wasn't gaining weight, or clothes didn't fit right, but nothing changed. The scale didn't change, but I saw other women who were along the same line, or along the same timeline as I was, and they were already showing, they were glowing, and it all seemed so fine and dandy. But here I am struggling, and don't even look pregnant. But every woman's body is different, and comparing your body to someone else's body is doing a disservice to yourself. The Lord made you unique. The Lord made you capable of doing what you're capable of doing. And something my doctor told me going into our first appointment, he knows I'm very active. He knows I'm a runner. He knows that Jared and I train all the time. If I'm not running, I'm training. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday are my run days. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays are my training days, weightlifting days. And, he told me, he gave me the clearance, you can keep doing what you've been doing. First of all, I was 2 weeks pregnant and I was squatting 245s. I was, heavy lifting and everything was fine. So he told me just keep things in moderation, keep my heart rate at, I think, 140. But, that fluctuates for every woman. It depends on your BMI and your health conditions, et cetera. But, he encouraged me to keep doing what I'm doing. So if you were active before you were pregnant, and, you talk to your gynecologist and they give you the clearance, keep doing what you're doing. And your body will tell you what it doesn't like. Your body will tell you, hey, I'm not okay with this. Your body will tell you you're pushing it a little bit too much. So, I just keep doing what I'm doing. And, that's my time whenever I'm running. That's when I pray over the baby. I talk to the baby. I listen to worship music. That's my time just for the baby and I. And it's a beautiful thing. And he or she is my running buddy. And hopefully when they come out the womb and they are old enough to start running, they will want to run at mama, or they'll want to train with their dad. Who knows? But yeah, that is nutrition, cravings, what I'm personally doing. And again, my journey is completely different from yours. I beg you don't compare. But I also want to encourage you that if you are pregnant, get some type of physical activity in there, even if it's just walking. Keep your body moving, work on your pelvic floor. You want your pelvic floor to be open and ready and able to push that baby out. So yes, I've done a lot of research already on that. But something else I wanted to touch on is balancing work and pregnancy. It's hard because you are tired and you feel as if you're dragging, but I've had to mentally just do a check. You got this, you can do this, even with the podcasting and pumping out episodes and editing videos. And I work full time as an accountant. I have several clients on the side on my personal business. I run the accounting for my husband's business. I, do run our finances in the home. Obviously, my husband has the last word, but we talk about, what we do. We pray about our financial decisions, but he's the head and I submit to him. That's just the way we run our home. Every home's different. But I juggle a lot of things. I cook, I clean, do laundry. My husband helps out quite a bit. And now being pregnant, he stepped it up significantly, helping me because our washing machine is not the one that you can just open up and pull the clothes out and put it in the dryer. No, you have to lean over and grab the clothes out. Being pregnant, whether you're 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, or 9 months pregnant, I promise you it's one of the most challenging things because for some reason you feel so heavy in your uterus that bending over for clothes is one of the most challenging things to do. So he's been phenomenal. He's helped me do laundry. I don't mind folding and putting away laundry. The hard part is starting and finishing the laundry. So he's been phenomenal at getting that done, dumping the clothes on our bedroom. And, that's a lifesaver. Doing the dishes for me and, just stepping up in all these different areas. And yes, he works full time. We have 2 businesses that we run full time. And that's aside from our personal day-to-day stuff. But, balancing work and pregnancy is difficult. But again, just as nutrition, your body changing and all that, every woman is different and every woman is capable of a certain degree of what they can do. While I don't throw up every day, I think I've only thrown up twice, maybe 3 times. And all of those was either I had milk and it made me throw up or food poisoning. The 2 times was milk. I had heavy milk and it made me throw up immediately. And the one other time was food poisoning and I came out both ends pretty immediately. Right after I ate it, my body rejected it. So I I'm thankful and privileged to not have the severe throwing ups in the mornings and the nights or throughout the day, crazy body ache, swelling. I'm at least up until this point in the second trimester, I haven't had that turmoil of pregnancy or that struggle of it. I've heard of different women who has it really, really difficult, and I empathize with you. So I say all that to say every woman, again, is very different. Your body is capable of only doing so much. Balancing work and pregnancy is hard. For me, my advice for in order to go through that smoothly is to do a daily mind check, a daily reset. Set your goals, set what you plan to do, and do your best to accomplish that. And don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work out exactly how you want it to. Don't beat yourself up if it takes longer. Right now, I used to clean every Thursdays. Thursdays are my cleaning days. Thursday evenings, it took me probably an hour to clean the entire house, and I would just go. It was put on some music, and I would just be in the groove, and I'd go. Now it takes me about 2 hours to clean, and I just take my sweet old time, and it's A-okay. So do what you can do. Don't compare yourself to other women who seem as if they're thriving. Other women, they may have to work. Their life probably depends on it, and they have to force themselves to get up and do it. That's fine. Maybe you're in a different position where you don't have to work. It's a choice. And, it's really hard for you in pregnancy. So the only choice that you have is to step back from work and focus on you. That's okay too. You do what your body is capable of doing, and don't push yourself because someone else is doing something entirely different in their pregnancy. And I think that's about it. I had other things that I wanted to talk about, but to be honest, like postpartum and preparing for the baby, we really haven't prepared in that sense. We haven't started the baby room. We haven't done any, types of classes, and we'll probably do 1 or 2 classes. I'm not sure. We're just enjoying the journey. And, women have been giving birth for years. And I think too often we complicate it. Yes, there are birth issues. There are things that happen. However, my doctor was very, very honest and transparent. He's very holistic, and he's a Christian. So thank the good Lord. And he's a faith-filled man. And, he encouraged us and let us know, Vashti and Jared, this has been happening for years. You're not the first couple to have a child. But I think the medical system overcomplicates it. And a lot of that has to do with it being a money-making business. And that's just the nature of it. Whether it's the hospital, it's Target, it's Walmart, it's a church, there is a degree to which money becomes the emphasis and the driving factor. And we see that in a lot of hospitals, companies, and corrupt churches where money becomes the driving force. And that's where a lot of downfall is. So, he encouraged us that, we are capable of doing this. And however we choose to do this, he will walk us through that. And if we want intervention, sure, that's fine. If we want to take it the natural, I'm trying to choose my words wisely because I know there's a lot of trigger words in terms of natural birth versus medicated versus vaginal birth. We talk through that and what our birth plan looks like. And, we're just trusting God with it. Women have been able to do this for years. And while medicine is there and God has provided medicine for a certain reason, we are choosing to walk through this pregnancy, and we believe pregnancies to come, putting it all in the Lord's hand. And we'll pray through the process. We'll believe that the baby will come healthy and will make its way vaginally, and we'll be thankful whether it's vaginally or medicated, whichever way it works out. But, our birth plan is just trusting the Lord through it and not complicating the process, because that's when it becomes complicated, when we overcomplicate things. So before I leave, something that I've learned through this season so far is learning to trust the Lord and not allowing fear to overwhelm our current situation, our current life being changed, not allowing negative Nancy's or negative naysayers to influence our thoughts about having a family, whether it be too early or too late. And we're just trusting the Lord through this. People will always have their opinion. People will have their own thoughts about what you should and shouldn't do. But ultimately, Jared and I are trusting God through this process, and we're believing that we're doing the right thing in how we're approaching pregnancy, our thoughts about pregnancy, our thoughts about this child. Something specific that we're doing is we're not finding out the baby's gender. We're not doing any type of genetic testing on this baby and all our future babies. At least that's how we're approaching it. And one of the reasons is, for those of you who know Jared's journey, I'm not going to go really into it, but, he has a rare form of cancer, and his doctor told us, I believe it was last year, whenever you guys do decide to start trying, Jared's cancer, there's an 80% chance of one or all of your children having that gene, which means that if you have that gene, you can develop cancer. Because there were so many in his family that ended up having that gene and the cancer, blowing up pretty badly. I think it was just one individual that it blew up pretty badly. But that's one of the reasons why we're not even finding out the gender or doing the genetic testing, because there is this specific testing that you have to do, or not have to do. There's this testing that's available, but with that testing and finding out the gender, you also find out the baby's genes and, whether they have any type of dysphoria or disadvantages or conditions. And we're just believing, even if they have, what are we going to do? We're going to keep the baby. It is the Lord's gift to us. It's not going to change anything. So we're just believing in faith now that this baby is whole. This baby is exactly who he or she needs to be. And we're going to be surprised on February 4th or February 5th when the baby comes. That's their due date. And we'll be thankful for what the Lord gave us. So I'll just wrap up with that, So just trust in the Lord, whatever season that you're in, whether it's you are pregnant, whether it's you're not, and you're hoping to be someday. I just want to encourage you to trust the Lord through the process, whether you're a believer or not. Especially if you're not a believer, I hope this motivates you to cling on to Jesus. I hope this motivates you to seek the Lord, because, the Lord is the author and the finisher of our life, and he gives life. He gives and takes away life, even though man tries to give and take away life on their own. But I want to encourage you to submit that to Jesus, and it may be that it's adoption for you. It may be that you're able to conceive, but I want to encourage you to submit your plans and your desires into the Lord's hand and be okay with whatever God decides is the path for your life. So yeah, that's about it. I, again, thank y'all so much for being so encouraging, for being a part of All the Things series, being a part of this journey. And, next week, I think we'll just go ahead and dive into PCOS, what it is, what it looks like for many different women, and go in a little bit more into how that journey was for me and walking through that and healing through that. So yeah, thank y'all for joining me. I'll see y'all next time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and yeah, y'all have a good one.